Tell the governor I'm going to have to call him back. I have a tissue talk to do right now. Thanks, buddy. All right. Oh, hey, we're on. Very cool. Welcome to Wednesday Tissue Talk.
Hi. Welcome to Wednesday.
Oh,
Tissue
the
Talk.
governor's always calling me.
Oh, my God.
Always wanting something. That'll be later.
Okay. So welcome today to Tissue Talk. I don't really understand it, but I just work here. Hey, so listen. Today we are going to talk about why our fingers keep falling asleep, why we have pain running down our arms, where we're getting this radicular pain.
That radicular pain is ridiculous.
Well done. Well done. Okay, so how many of you guys have you ever fallen asleep? You go to sleep at night, and then you wake up in the middle of the night, and you are suddenly freaking out because you think somebody has broken into your house, and they are trying to touch you, and you have a hand is like sitting like this, but you have no idea whose hand it is. But then when you really wake up, you realize it's your own hand because it's fallen asleep, and it's like dragging across, or you try to turn over and your whole arm is just like...
I had this one. I was asleep like this. I woke up, I thought somebody had my hand. Yeah, it was me. And a full dead hand. Oh, scary. Scary.
Or what about when you're driving, and you're driving for long distance, and your fingers start to tingle?
You gotta start shaking them out.
And like you're always like, oh my God, my arms are going numb. This is horrible. Or you feel numbness and tingling in your fingers, and you just have no idea why. And you're like, what is happening to me? Like these 3 fingers fall asleep, or these fingers are hurting and falling asleep. So today we're going to talk about these 3 little nerves in our body that make big issues for our arms and hands, right?
A lot of problems.
But before we get to the fingers, let's start from the beginning, because you know that I like the anatomy. We're going to talk about the brachial plexus and where do these nerves actually show up from, because we don't just have nerves that are just hanging out, sitting in the middle of our arm or sitting here. The nerve just doesn't start and end here. There's always a nerve line and a nerve pattern that goes all the way up and all the way back down. And they always start from the nerve root, which sits into the vertebrae. You all right? So today we're going to talk about the brachial plexus. Yeah. The brachial plexus is a group of nerves that come from the spinal cord in the neck, and they travel down the arm and into the hand. These nerves control the muscles of the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and the hand, and they also provide all the feeling in the arm. So a lot of times, we don't even think about the fact that we have nerves that start all the way up here. These nerves are really, really, really important because they innervate the entire arm, shoulder, wrist, and hand, like I just said, right? The nerves run past the elbow to the wrist and the hand, and there's 3 main nerves that we're going to talk about. You have your median nerve, you have your ulnar nerve, and you have your radial nerve. Okay, so the median nerve, it passes down the inside of the arm and crosses the front of the elbow. So the ulnar nerve passes down the inside of the arm. And the radial nerve passes down the back side of the arm and to the outside of the elbow. So now that we know that we have 3 big nerves that are little nerves, but they make big problems.
Big issues.
We need to talk about these nerves and where they run, right? Because each nerve has a different pattern. It has a different nerve line. So where the median nerve comes down to the center, the ulnar nerve is actually the one that's going to affect the little pinky guy and the ring finger a lot of the time. And then you have the radial, the ulnar nerve. Then you have your radial nerve. Sorry, I just had a total brain aneurysm in the middle of Facebook Live. Then you have your radial nerve that comes around the back, and it comes down and affects these guys. So we have radial, ulnar, median. So so depending on where the pain is and where the discomfort is and the numbness and the tingling in your arm and where it lines up in these guys, in your little piggies and fingers. These are toes, huh? Yeah. Never mind. Whatever.
The digits.
It's been a day already and it's only 12:30. Anywho, when they line up into the fingers, that's where we're going to know where we're going with it, right?
It gives you a roadmap of where you want to start looking.
So let's talk about the brachial plexus. So the brachial plexus is actually the shoulder girdle, right? So we have different plexi in our body depending on where the bundle of nerves come out and innervate.
What's a plexi or plexus? It's a bundle.
It's a bundle.
It's a bundle. It's where all the nerves are kind of going on.
He's determined to like annoy me today. I just don't know why. He's doing a good job.
When you're
with it.
professional, it just shows.
So let's talk about brachial plexus. So we know where it runs, right? We know that it innervates all the way down, provides all the feeling in the arm. So because we have these nerves that run through here, stay this way. They run there, they come underneath this clavicle, your collarbone, and they run under this big muscle called your pectoralis minor. A lot of times when we're really way too tight in here and or we have this nice little first rib that tends to get a little bit high.
I was going to say, what is that all sitting right on top of?
Your rib cage.
Rib cage, yeah.
Yeah, and so the first rib tends to get a little high. What will happen is what's called thoracic outlet syndrome. And what this is it's a group of disorders that occur when the blood vessels or nerves in the space between the collarbone and the first rib, your thoracic outlet, and it becomes compressed. And or pec minor gets way too tight and compresses. You have artery and nerves, and when this compresses like this,
I'm fine.
it innervates and annoys that. So your hand problem is actually potentially a neck problem. Yes. It doesn't mean that where it is where it is where it starts from, right?
It's a guidepost. It's telling you where you want to look.
It really is. So, thoracic outlet syndrome, if you tend to have it, or there's a potential that you do have it, these guys will be your guide, and these will tend to have a tendency to fall asleep, get numb, get tingly, and it'll be your last 3 fingers in your hand. So if you have these 3 fingers that are falling asleep all the time, or get numb, or get pins and needles in them, or you're kind of feeling a little like numbness, that's these guys. And that's most of the time coming from this area right here. So median nerve entrapment now. So you have median nerve entrapment syndrome, which now we're talking about which nerve? The median nerve. Okay, that affects movement or sensation in the hand. So it's caused by compression in the median nerve in the elbow or down into the forearm and wrist, which with the forearm and wrist, which gives you symptoms in the median nerve distribution. So you'll have it that runs all the way through, right? Ding, 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 ding. And so it'll run through this way. And a lot of times the median nerve can be entrapped in 4 different locations in the elbow. So you have the distal humerus, you have the proximal elbow. So distal means the end of your humerus, the end of your upper arm, to the upper part of your elbow, the proximal side of your elbow. Then you have that where the 2 bones meet, which is the elbow joint in and of itself, and or this pronator teres muscle, which is the most common cause of median nerve compression.
Why would that be?
Yeah. Pronator teres allows the body, or allows the forearm to actually pronate and move down.
Put your hand on a keyboard, a mouse, or anything like that. That's pronate.
Right. So, why is that important for us, the median nerve? Because median nerve compression is also, AKA, carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome. So, carpal tunnel syndrome, also called median nerve, median nerve compression, right? It is a condition that causes numbness, tingling, or weakness in your hand. And what it happens is because of the pressure on your median nerve, which again runs the length of your arm, it goes through a passage of your wrist right here called the carpal tunnel. So you have this little part of your wrist right in here, and you have all of these little bones, carpal bones, and you have this little tunnel, i.e. the carpal tunnel. And it ends in your hand. And so the median nerve, it controls the movement and the feeling of your thumb and the movement of all your fingers except for your pinky. So if you're having a lot of pain or weakness or numbness or tingling right here, You can still say classy because you still have the pinky,
Pinky.
but you may have potentially median nerve compression, which a lot of times gets misdiagnosed as carpal tunnel syndrome.
There's a lot of misdiagnosis of carpal tunnel syndrome.
Carpal tunnel syndrome is one of the most misdiagnosed pathologies that we have. A lot of people, if they're doing this all the time, they're doing this all the time, they're feeling it down here. This gets irritated, but it might be coming from even all the way up into the neck.
And it could be just a simple strain pattern that's
Right.
going on way up a little bit higher that's causing all that pain and discomfort, or just discomfort, not necessarily pain, just the numbness and tingling.
Right.
So, what
that was very fast. That way you said that, like 100 miles an hour.
I got things to do.
So
I got
listen,
the governor waiting for me.
I know. We're going to give you guys assessments on how to assess yourself down the line, but right now we're going to go through a couple of the other impingements. So some of the symptoms of carpal tunnel: burning and tingling and itching or numbness in your palm, thumb, index, and middle fingers. So if you're having burning, tingling, numbness, itching, those are things to look forward right here. Shock-like feelings that move into your fingers when you're like, oh my God, that got me. Oh my God, that got me. Or tingling that moves up your arm. So it might be also that you're noticing your fingers are falling asleep and they become numb at night. And if they're not here and they're here, this is more the median nerve. Thoracic outlet, median nerve. It's like a puppet show. Thoracic outlet, median nerve.
You should have like shadow puppets or something going on.
Okay, so sometimes you'll go to sleep and you'll wake up, and depending on where you're numb at night, it's going to give you a pattern as to what's happening. Earlier on, you can like stretch, move, shake them out, and it'll start to feel better. But as the wear and tear comes on and as the compression
You don't make a
happens,
change, it's gonna
it will
continue on.
continue, and it'll be like, I can't get rid of it. It's all day long. So as carpal tunnel syndrome gets worse, you may lose grip strength. So as things get a little worse, you might lose a little bit of the grip strength.
You can't hold that coffee mug. Forget it.
Oh man.
Hold on.
Ooh. Because the median nerve can't work the way it's used to because it's not being innervated. So the problem with nerve compression, I'm like so up in the camera,
I'm rapping.
is that once you compress the nerve, you're not sending a full signal. It's like bad Wi-Fi, you guys. So if you don't have when you have good Wi-Fi, your computer runs fast. Like you can get things done like this. You start losing a little bit of the signal, the nerve gets impressed, the Wi-Fi goes bad, and then it's like sketchy, right? It kind of goes and comes, takes a little bit longer to get there, it's weaker. I hate bad Wi-Fi. It's horrible. It'll ruin your whole day. So nerve compression is kind of like that. And the thing with nerve compression is the longer it stays, the weaker it gets. So we want to make sure that we are addressing these problems right away. So how do we know? How do we know if we have this? There is a test that you can do.
You just guess?
You guess. You're like, whoa, she told me one of these fingers. And
No guessing involved.
And then you'll end up giving me another finger that we haven't even really talked about yet, but that's for later time.
Median nerve.
It is a different type of median nerve, that's for sure. So we're going to go with the Phelan's test. The Phelan's test is a way to kind of see if you can distinguish between whether you have it or not. So the Phelan's test.
Put your hands, drop them down,
Yes.
right in front of your chest, and then try to press your wrists together, just like this. And I'm starting to get a compression right here, so I'm getting, I more, it's just a strain pattern for me. It's strain.
Good job.
Now it's gone.
Good job.
Now it's
Okay,
gone.
so let me
About, what,
let
30
me
seconds?
So let me tell you how the Phelan's test works. I don't understand you today. So the Phelan's test, there's two ways of doing it. The first one, you can just hang out and put your hands straight down like this. What you're going to do is you're going to bend the wrist. If you have compression going on in here and nerve compression, after about 67 seconds, you'll have numbness and tingling in these fingers. The other way is what Mike was showing you, where you bend and you press it together, and that compression will impinge that nerve. If there is a positive numbness and tingling, it becomes a positive for a Phelan's test. That means your median nerve is compressed.
There's an issue there.
Yeah, so that just means that we got to figure out how to get rid of wherever that nerve
Does it mean you have
compression
carpal
is.
tunnel?
No, it doesn't. It means you have nerve compression of the median nerve. Median nerve. There's another thing that you can do that's a special test for carpal tunnel, and it's called the Tinel's test.
Tinel's.
And the Tinel's test is a clinical test that it's designed to detect irritated nerves. So what you're going to do is, if you have a partner, you're going to have them grab onto your wrist, you're going to hold it, and then you're just going to tap the area of the median nerve. And if you're lightly tapping over the median nerve, today is the day I can't speak. What's going to happen is, if you have irritation, it's going to light it up like fireworks on the 4th of July, and it's going to be really, really painful.
Yep.
And it's going to send the little shock waves and send the little tingling. And so what it's going to do is it's going to give you right over the area that, like, aha, hey, it's a positive test. So it's a Tinel's test. So if you think you have it, tap on it. And if it comes up and lights up, that's an indication that you've got something going on. It just is going to give you a positive assessment. So that's what we're looking for right now. And then we'll tell you where to move into on how to get rid of it down the line. So listen, now we've done the median nerve, but remember, carpal tunnel, the biggest issue with carpal tunnel is that median nerve, and the median nerve entrapment most commonly is where?
Pronator teres.
The pronator teres. And remember, the pronator teres is a muscle that actually allows you to pronate. So it's all of the stuff that we do all day long. Drive, computers, text, phone, FaceTime, Zoom, mouse, I don't even know, whatever else. Play the piano, screw light bulbs in and out, and I don't know whatever else. So, pronator teres syndrome. It is a compression of the median nerve at the elbow. And it's rare compared to the compression at the wrist, but it actually is not as rare as you think.
Shows up a lot.
It shows up a lot. It's more common the more that we get into the technology age. A lot more common, because we're using these guys a lot more.
Well, I find out if you're going to have any of these positive tests, you come up with that pronator teres. That pronator teres is involved.
Yeah.
Just about every time.
Pretty much. So, how do we do a pronator teres syndrome test to see if we're positive with it? What you're going to do is you're going to take the person's elbow,
grasp them gently
at 90 degrees. So the elbow is bent at 90 degrees of flexion. And there, so Mike's going to stabilize my hand with one side, and then he's going to ask to perform a movement where I have to resist.
Yep, I'm going to have Julie turn her hand down, the whole forearm down towards the ground.
Yeah, so I'm going to pronate.
And I'm resisting that motion.
Yeah.
So I'm rotating this way as she's trying to rotate towards herself.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a funky handshake. So what you're doing is, in resistance, I'm moving this way. I'm moving this way, and he's resisting me rotating the opposite way. So, and if that lights up, then it's giving you a positive test for pronator teres syndrome, which is really common. Then that shows you, hey, guess what? It could be up here, not necessarily down there. So that we've gone through the median nerve, we've gone through carpal tunnel, we've gone through pronator teres, we've gone through brachial plexus and thoracic outlet syndrome. So now we're going to move nerves. We're moving, and we're going into. So could you say it's like the kinks in the garden? Be quiet. Stop. Beat me to my own punch, Mark. So.
Get your own show.
Good Lord. Everybody's trying to jump into my stuff all the time. So now we're going to move nerves. We're tired of the median nerve. We're over it. We're going to move into the ulnar nerve. So now we're going to go into ulnar nerve entrapment. Remember, ulnar nerve is out here, guys. So ulnar nerve is when there's too much pressure is put on the nerve in the elbow by it's either your bones, your tendons, your muscles, your cartilage, and it becomes inflamed or swollen. It's also known as cubital tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel. Carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel. Cubital tunnel just moves out to the outside. So this can start, a pinched nerve can start all over the place, right? It can start in several places throughout. It can be the joints. It can be into the muscle, it can be into the tendon, into the ligament. When a pinched nerve is in your elbow, it can leave your arm and hand feeling sore and numb. The ulnar nerve, it runs the length of your arm, right? And it helps control the muscles in the forearm and the hand. Sensations affecting your ring finger and your little finger also travel through the ulnar nerve. These dudes right here. It is the most vulnerable point in the elbow, the ulnar nerve. And this is your funny bone.
I've come in contact with that nerve.
The funny bone, which is not very funny when you hit it. And it always, you bang it, sends a tingling down, no fun. And so the other thing with the ulnar nerve, you guys, is if you're sitting on your elbows for a long period of time, if you're sitting like this for a long period of time, if you're leaning on your elbows for a long period of time, you're catching your ulnar nerve. And the ulnar nerve also can move. So the ulnar nerve can actually slip out of place because it's really superficial and actually it can move in. And then as soon as you lay your hand down, this happens to me a lot actually. As soon as I lay my hand down, it's like, oh, oh, oh. So with the ulnar nerve, what happens is you can have...
You'd stop doing that after
I like doing it because it makes me a better therapist. So the other thing too is you can actually do overuse syndrome and catch that ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve is also where your bursa is hanging out. So bursitis, an inflammation of your bursa sac, if you remember, we've talked about that little fluid-filled sac that hangs out to help with friction. If it's inflamed, it'll get inflamed and that'll compress onto the ulnar nerve. So there's a lot of things, bone spurs, arthritis. We can have a lot of stuff going on with the symptoms of an ulnar nerve. So ulnar nerve entrapment, the biggest thing is weakness in your hand. So you may feel like, oh, I can't really do a lot with these guys. I don't have a lot of movement. If you start to have weakness in your hand, it could be coming from your ulnar nerve. So this brings up a really good point. Is it always in your fingers and your hand because it's running into your fingers and your hand, right? So you're having all these issues. Is it really where it is?
My answer?
Yeah.
Most likely not. And it's more than likely coming from way upstream is where the compression's starting, and it's ending up down there. Did I just jump on your line?
No, you guys all jumped on my line. My line is over. So I'm going to say it again. So it's actually not even my line. I wish I could take credit for it.
No.
So James Wozlowski is amazing in this, and he always says, which I really love this line, is when you are watering your garden and you have a kink in your hose, is it usually...
Let's say there's several kinks in a hose, right?
Yes.
Not just one, several. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So you have a kink in your hose, and you're watering this garden, and you really want to take care of your garden, but you notice that the kink in your hose is not allowing the water to actually spray. It's just dripping. Do you just figure out that it's just the kink by the nozzle? Or could it potentially be other kinks going up into the hose that you will have to go start from the faucet? So if you start from the faucet where the water comes out, then you may notice there are a lot of kinks in the hose before you just get to the nozzle. Boom! That's how it's supposed to be said.
I mean, that was pretty good.
You guys all jumped on it, tried to make it your own.
Good.
It's not even mine, it's James. So James, thank you for that, and I'm sorry that you had others that tried to lift it for you.
So when we're looking at those kinks, where's our best place to start? At the very end and work our way back this way?
At the nozzle.
Or go back to the house, huh?
No, it's at the faucet. At the faucet. Always start where the nerves are coming out, in the nerve root.
It's actually called a spigot.
Okay, so here's the thing, you guys. With nerve impingement, even though you're feeling it in here, this is the end of the line. I always call it end of the BART line because I'm from the Bay Area. So it was always the end of the BART line where the train stopped and had to reverse course. So this is the end of your line. If you're having weakness or you're having tingling on here, you want to make sure that you go all the way and start from the beginning, all the way down and go to the end. And then work your way down, because just because you have the three nerves here, your radial, your ulnar, and your median nerve, it can be coming from your pec minor being too tight. It can be coming from your first rib.
I was going to say the biggest thing is that first rib, just being elevated up a little bit.
Yeah. It could be coming from a little bit of a joint fixation in your neck, which could be compressing into the nerve. It could be coming from a nerve entrapment from the muscle structure. It could be coming from old scar tissue
Anxiety.
that pulls on it. Yeah, it could be coming from, listen, a lot of anxiety is happening these days, right? Because of all of the emotions that are going on, and we tend to sit like this, and everything's all tightened up. Easy way to do it. It could be coming from sitting and playing video games on your elbows the entire time.
Dropping your head forward.
Yeah, there's a lot that could be from this. So, my suggestion...
So should you go get surgery right away?
No,
Cut it?
I think you should do the test. Do the test that we've given you. Tell me how you feel. If they come up positive, what that's giving you is a positive aha of like, wow, I got nerve entrapment. What do I do next? Follow the line all the way up. Have somebody take a look at your neck. Go to see a doctor and have them give you a referral.
Get a proper evaluation.
Right, and get a good assessment. And if you do a good assessment, they're going to be able to help you on all of this.
Absolutely.
So what will happen is, once the doctor gives you an assessment, they'll be able to work on the area and move it right back down the chain. And so hopefully they'll be able to clear you of anything that you have.
And you don't want to sip your coffee out of a straw.
Oh gosh, no, it would be awful. It would be awful. So you guys, I hope that helped. I'm sorry that it was so like disjointed today. Disjointed, got what I said? Little play on words there. But I will be back. This is what happens when I leave my hair down to talk. I lose all control of my body. Anyway, at the end of the day, only you guys can fix you. So really pay attention and don't think that every time we have a nerve entrapment, it means surgery. It doesn't mean the end of the line. It means the start of what can we do. So the more that you focus on you, you'll be better off for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If anybody you know has elbow pain, has nerve pain, has finger pain, has weakness in their hands, please show them the video, and hopefully that can give them a little bit of help.
Call us. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we can help them. And if not, we'll see you next week, same time, same channel, and hopefully a little less spunkiness next time.
Oh no, there'll be more.
I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye, guys.
Happy Wednesday. Get the governor.